everybody. My name is Tim Daniel. Ben is having a little bit of a technical difficulty, so he'll be on as soon as he possibly can. But welcome to tonight's edition of Late Night Reds, brought to you by the Riverfront, part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. I am very excited for tonight's show. We have a lot of fun things to talk about. So lots of big news in Reds land this week. I was very jealous that it was not my week to cover the Riverfront Reds show as Seth was there. And I think, hey,
Ooh-wee.
You good?
I think so.
All right, good. I can hear you, so we're good. Ben is officially here. We didn't get into the show at all, so I figured I'll just wait till you got there to start talking news. So here we go again. My name is Tim Daniel. His name is Ben Brown, and welcome to tonight's edition of Late Night Reds. I am guessing you were on a new laptop today. Is that correct?
No. Same laptop. For some reason, like it's weird, funny. Sometimes it acts good, sometimes it doesn't. Internet funky. Who knows?
Feel ya.
It's,
Yeah. All right. So before we get into Reds chats, Ben, I gotta tell you something, man. I had the Skyline ice cream. I liked it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's pretty good. Yeah. It was I guess when I first heard the announcement, I was in the assumption, I think a lot of people were, that it was it's supposed to taste like they're chili. And it does not. It's I think the way I would describe it is like pumpkin pie ice cream almost.
Yep.
With saltine crackers inside it. So I was pretty impressed with it. Am I going to go out and buy 3 or 4 pints? No. But I liked it.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I kind of equated it to like a pumpkin pie, like almost cinnamon toast crunch type.
Oh, I feel that.
So yeah. So it had that little cinnamon taste, and of course the crunch with the crackers. It was I was impressed. I was impressed. I was definitely expecting it to taste like chili.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it's a really unique thing. But I think they did a good job with it. And I heard the Kelsey brothers were talking about on their podcast about having a Skyline send it to them on ice, on dry ice or whatever, to see if they'll try it on their show. So it was interesting. But hey, man, talk some Reds news. So let's start in a celebratory move.
Mm-hmm.
How about it, Elly? One of the 3 cover athletes on MLB the Show 2025. And let's just again. So I'm going to say a couple things here real quick about this. Obviously, first Cincinnati Red on the cover of a video game. So that's awesome. First Cincinnati athlete on the cover of a video game since Chad Johnson on NFL Street 3.
Yeah.
That's and
crazy.
So, unless you count Sean, of course, be on the cover of Madden and college football, but he was not in local gear at those times, but or ever for that matter. But with that being said, Elly is one of 3 players along with Gunnar Anderson and some other guy that are going to be on the cover of the game this year. And I think it's incredible. I am so stoked. And I normally just get the digital copy because that's where they put all the pre-order bonuses in.
Mm-hmm.
But this year I got to get a physical copy. I got to have that on the shelf.
Yeah. It's a, I think we talked about this a little bit last week. When you have a guy like Elly and he's able to, he transcends not only just the sport of baseball, but he's culture, right? He's got the swag. He's got all the different things that you look for in a guy to lead your franchise. So for him to be one of the new faces of Major League Baseball is really cool, and it's well deserved. I mean, the kid's going to be a star, and he just exudes that swagger, that just bravado of anybody that you'd want to have on your baseball team. That's what you want.
Yeah, he's what the kids would call he's what you when you make a creative player in a video game, and he's the guy who just boosts all the stats, just a 99 everything, and he plays on our team, and so that's pretty awesome. I'm super excited. It's going to be really, really cool to see. But yeah, man, I mean, it's been a good Reds week. I mean, really, it's that was the start. I was on Monday. That came out about those rumbles on Sunday. Yes, I mean, how lucky would to have Elly? I mean, I know people want to put like an expiration date on it, and I understand that, but let's not. Let's enjoy these next
No,
4 or 5
let's not.
whatever it is, to see what we get out of him. But hey, man, the Reds made some moves this week, so let's talk about them, shall we? Good ones
Hmm.
at that. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so obviously they starts off with Austin Hayes coming in, who looks like it's going to be a corner outfielder. Who I know last year didn't have a great year, but 2023 was
Hmm.
really really good. They get Taylor Rogers, who I really like and has had a really good major league career. I think
Hmm.
it's just a really nice left-handed reliever. And then old pal, Mr.
Hmm.
No-hitter himself, Wade Miley, back on a minor league deal. Currently recovering from Tommy John surgery. Looks like he should be back and pitching in around May or so. So could be something that could help the Reds down the stretch. I will go with this, man, and I'll say that. And I'll get your thoughts on everything too. But I'll start by
Hmm.
saying I think they definitely got better this week. And I also think getting
Hmm.
Austin Hayes, who maybe wasn't the outfielder we all thought the Reds were gonna get, makes the lineup make a little more sense.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that. Um, Austin Hayes is a big one to me because I do think he has the potential um, to to hit well in Great American. And I also think he has potential to solidify one of your spots in the outfield, a guy that you don't have to worry about playing in the outfield.
Yeah.
So if he can bat 270 to 280, which he's shown he can do,
Mhm.
if he could do that and be productive at bats in that lineup, he's not going to need much. If Matt McClain is Matt McClain and Elly is Elly, you're going to have guys there that are going to be able to do things that you need to do. You don't need him to be a superhero. You just need him to get
Right.
on base. You need him to bat what he usually bats, and be kind of like where he was a couple years ago. He doesn't have to be a superstar. He just has to be consistent.
Yeah.
And he
Absolutely.
and he's an outfielder. You know what I mean? Like that's what we
Yeah.
needed.
Most importantly.
Right.
Most
Most
importantly.
importantly, he's played in the outfield. We're not transitioning from shortstop to outfield. Like he's played in the outfield.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I think this is a really nice move. Taylor Rogers is a guy who I am really excited about.
Hmm.
I think so. I'm pulling up his baseball reference page real quick because I had it like up earlier, and of course my phone is not cooperating. We both were trying to get on the show tonight, and we both just
I
had
know.
incredibly horrible issues with our internet. But
Yeah.
Rogers is a former All Star, obviously from 2021 with
Hmm.
the Twins. Had some really good years with the Giants most recently. Pitched, it had an okay year between a half year between the Padres and the Brewers. But dude, stud. Joey Gaditza says right here, absolute stud. Will
Hmm.
gets guys out from both sides of the plate. Has
Yep.
a career 3.30 ERA. Last year
Yep.
had his best year, the 2.40 ERA, and the Reds didn't have to give up much for him, just a prospect. So
No.
I
Yeah.
love this move. I think having the lefties of like him and what's his name? God, the local guy that we talk about all the time. Sydney, where
Oh,
are you right now?
Suitor.
Yeah, Brent Suter. Thank you. Having those two guys
Hmm.
as your like lefties out of the pen, I think the pen's gonna be really, really good this year. I'm really excited.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I definitely think that they have bolstered their pen. They've got guys, and like we talked about, I think we talked about this. You got to have guys for every situation, right? You got to have guys that can come in different spots, in different parts of the lineup where you can play the game. And the biggest thing we talked about last year was what? Not having enough depth. We
Yep.
weren't deep anywhere. So now we're deep in lefties, we're deep in relievers. We've got an outfielder now. We've added some other guys, like Gavin Lux. We've got we're adding depth to our roster where we don't say, well, oh man, Matt McClain stubbed his toe, he's going to be out a week, and we go, oh my gosh, now we got
What
to
do we
find a
do?
bats
Yeah.
for whoever the case may be. What do we do? Now we have guys that we can put in there and be like, okay, we can survive a week without Matt McClain. We can survive, you know what I mean? Like everything just doesn't go in the dumpster. So on that end, we have done a tremendous job of developing depth where if something happens, Lord forbid, to one of those guys, we just don't go in the tank. We've got a veteran behind them that can do well. Like when Sam Moll went out as our lefty, all we had was Suter, and we were like dude, we can't just keep running him out there. He's the only lefty we got. Now we have some depth of another guy.
Yeah,
they're like,
for sure.
Who's our lefty? Let's throw Suter in again. He's like, let's do it, guys. And then the people were wondering why, oh man, he's starting to get hit. Well, yeah, everybody in the league has seen him 20 times because he goes out there every time we needed something. So like to have that kind of depth is invaluable and will pay dividends for sure.
I think he could be a sneaky closer guy.
Oh yeah. I mean, his numbers back that up. That up.
Had a couple 30 save seasons there in his career.
Yeah.
And so I think that could be something where if Alexis Diaz kind of has an up and down year again, like he had last year, that's a pretty reliable dude that you can throw in the back there. So I like that as well. Yep. So Wade Miley, just depth, but I think it's a really nice move, especially if, he has plenty of time. You don't need him opening day to get comfortable again. And then Sydney mentioned, which I forgot to put on there. How about the most important move this week is that Ian Jabot's back. The legend. So Ben, does this answer our question from last week? Does this mean the end of Buck Farmer? Well, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's the end of Buck Farmer, man.
The end of Buck Farmer.
Yeah, it's the end of an era. The
Play
Buck
Sarah
era
McLachlan.
Yeah. The end of the Buck era is finally over. He was one of a kind. I'll say that.
So we'll play the Sarah McLachlan / Andy Bernard. I will remember you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go watch an episode of The Office again. We're just trying to get fired from David.
Yes.
Oh man, that was awesome. And then City brings up the point here. Alex Young's back as a good bullpen depth. Albert Abreu. I think the bullpen depth is probably the best it's been since the Chapman era. So this is like, I'm getting excited. I'm like really getting excited about this team.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because I think they're like, there weren't any big like splash moves like you're seeing, of course, in the NBA, which is ridiculous. But there weren't any big splash moves, but there were just enough moves where you're like, oh yeah, that hit an area that we needed. Oh yeah, that hit an area we needed. Oh yeah, we brought some depth here. Oh, we brought in another infielder. Oh, we've got an outfielder now that actually plays the outfield. Now so there weren't any big splash moves, but man, we have covered a lot of area and a lot of ground with the moves that we've made. So it's definitely exciting because for the first time in a while, I feel like our front office cares.
Yeah. I feel like the certain guy who's leading the clubhouse, has really changed some things.
Like let's bring some guys in that are gonna make us better. Let's bring some guys in.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. 100%.
I think that makes them dangerous too for this year in the sense that they have a guy who knows how to manage a bullpen. I mean, Francona won World Series and got to World Series because of how well he manages bullpen in some situations. So I think that this is just going to be the sky's the limit for this group.
Yeah. I think that's why it's important they've made the moves that they've made, because I think he is one of the many things that he's known for is being able to get guys in the right situations via the bullpen, like put guys in the right spots, good matchups, knowing his guys, which guys can pitch in which spots. That's one of the things that he's definitely known for. And on top of that, he wants to win. Like he's trying to develop a winner and not just be like, okay, we're just okay being okay. And that's where that change in mindset has came from, bringing a guy like Francona in.
Yeah, Josh makes a great point here. It's a better team with more depth and a better manager. If Matt and CS have bounced back seasons, there's a reason to think this team won't be good. So we're going to get to CS today in the conversation because there's some really interesting dynamics there as well. So as we talked about all the moves they did make, apparently there's a couple reports of a move they almost made. And I want to make sure we talked about that because it came out this week. Ken Rosenthal mentioned that the Reds and White Sox had discussed a Luis Robert trade. Now, you and I can be very honest. We were all aboard bringing in Lou Bob. And
Mhm.
I honestly still like the thought process of bringing in Lou Bob. And the reports basically sound like there was a hang up. Not shocking for a Reinsdorf owned team on
Mhm.
what they were getting. And I mean, the Reds were offering Edwin Arroyo. So I don't know why the White
Mhm.
Sox weren't willing to do that.
Yeah.
Which is the report. I don't have any 1,000% truth behind this, by any means. So I want to make sure I get that out there. But like, if you're the White Sox and you're offered Edwin Arroyo, and you have a tendency as a Jerry Reinsdorf owned team to just not know when to trade assets. They just tonight traded Zach Levine, for God's sakes. So that's what we're getting at here. They own the Bulls and the White Sox, for those who don't know what I'm talking about. Why didn't you take this? I mean,
Yeah.
why? Like, it's not that. Look, like, you can say what you will on the Red side about whether you think Lou Bob will recapture his 2023 form again. I know last year he was hurt and he really struggled. You and I are in the belief that he is that guy. We've talked about that a lot. But
Yep.
I mean, he could have potentially done the Reds a favor if Lou Bob is bad this year.
Yep. Absolutely. I wondered why they didn't pull the trigger on that, because for them, like you said, it's you're trading away assets, but I mean, getting Edwin Arroyo back, like that is freaking crazy. Like you would have won. I mean, not won the trade, but I mean, geez, Pete's like that's asset
Feel
for
pretty
asset.
good.
Like, yeah, you feel pretty good about that trade. So I don't know what the holdup was. I mean, I don't think he's trying to build the team around Lou Bob, but I don't know. You sometimes with management, you just don't know what those
Especially the
guys are
Reinsdorfs.
thinking. Yeah, you just don't know. I mean, for some reason, they want to hold on to him, and maybe they think that wasn't enough. I don't know, but you can't do that to that young man when you're not committed to winning. Like, they're not committed to winning. They're going to win another. They're going to lose another 100 games this year.
Yeah, they're going to be awful.
And you're just and eventually you're going to actually lose in whatever trade you get, because he's not going to gain value on a losing team. So why not get him at a high value now, where you're going to get a good player for him, and get him out to where he has a chance to win. But unfortunately, a lot of owners don't think that way. So.
Yeah, which is funny because everyone, Sydney and Debbie, are saying like, yeah, I know the Reds, like the conversation came down to money. This is once again the White Sox. Look, I'm not drinking tonight. This is me just being 100 about a guy who's a long-suffering Bulls fan before he finally made the switch.
Yeah.
You are morons. You are a bunch of idiots. If this holdup was money, like I understand that Arroyo had a shoulder injury last year, but there's a reason it took the Reds a lot to get him in the Luis Castillo trade. Like, that was not easy for the Reds to make happen. There's a reason that trade took as long as it did. And now, like, this is a guy who bounced back, had a really good fall league. It was like getting in shape. I think Tito was one of the guys Tito was talking about. He was impressed with when he went and visited all the camps. And your thought up was like a couple mil.
Yeah.
My dog.
Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, doesn't make sense. Like, the White Sox have this tendency. I'll say I'm going to put the Reinsdorf organization on a big cloud here. Just as like a liability. They have a tendency to hold on to people way too long. Yes. And they lose value as the year goes on. So like I'm saying, so I'm not saying that yeah, I wanted Luis Robert as a center fielder of the Cincinnati Reds. I have not shied away from that. I still do. Matter of fact.
Right.
Now, things are a little different with Austin Hayes. And we'll see how that kind of works out. What would that have meant for TJ Friedel would have been the question at that point. Right. But if you're the White Sox, like Sydney says right here, that's your shortstop for the next time you're good, which could be never,
years.
But
years.
yeah, for sure.
For years.
And I mean, for the Reds side of it, it's just like so stupid, because that would have been their guy for you had 3 years of control on him.
Yeah.
So I will say this, from the way that, like, and you and I text about this, so I don't want, kind of get your thoughts on this as well. But the way the report was like worded, and maybe I'm just like reading between the lines, It doesn't sound like it's completely off the table.
Mm-mm.
So it sounds like it could be revisited later on.
Yeah.
But for now, it's not happening. But this is baseball. This stuff happens all the time.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't think it's completely off the table for sure. In reading it, I think there were a few minor details that they were off on. If they get those details squared away, and here's the thing, it at some point, one of the two will start to smarten up and be like, okay, we need to pull the trigger. Where do we need to get at on the money? And once they get that figured out, like you said, if it's $1 million, 1.5, whatever it is, let's get it squared away. I don't think that move is completely off the table. I think that I think it's still there. I definitely think it's still there.
Yeah, it sounds like there's kind of conflicting reports between Crawl and the White Sox and who did the money thing. So if the holdup here is money, it's dumb, and they should just make it trade. So
yep, get it done.
Yeah, I mean they're both major league teams, and they both have major sponsorships that have the namesake on their stadiums.
Yep,
it's gonna be okay.
Get it done.
So
get it done.
From moves to almost moves to maybe moves.
Maybe.
John Heyman, Ben, had a pretty interesting article this week. We talked about one polar bear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read the quote real quick to make sure we get this out here before we analyze it. So John Heyman puts out his weekly column with New York Post, and he says, "How about long shot Reds as a Pete Alonso landing spot? Could the Reds pursue Pete Alonso? It's probably a long shot, but with Alonso's market not developing as expected, word is Cincinnati may consider it. It's unusual for a star free agent to go from baseball's biggest market to its smallest, tied with Milwaukee. But Cincinnati with the smallest ballpark might be a nice spot for Alonso to reestablish value on a deal with early opt-outs." So, Ben.
Yes.
Yes.
Whatever the question, yes.
Okay.
I'm in.
So yes, absolutely. But let's get realistic here.
Yeah.
0.000000001% chance, maybe?
Yeah. I think he brings up a good point. It's hard for guys that have played in that market and that kind of to go to a small market team. A lot of times that just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying like going from big to small usually doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like it's
right.
It's usually the other way. So, do I hope it happens? Yes. I mean that would be that would be incredible. But I just don't see it happening just because, he's a big market player. He's a big market guy. And I don't see him going back to a small market after playing in a big market. If the Reds were smart, and which they could have, I mean, I would throw a decent amount of money at him and see what he would do. But I don't know. I just don't see him. Like I said, I think when people play in big markets, it's hard for them to get used to going back to a small market.
Yeah.
But I would love to have him.
Yeah. Kerry says here, the Reds don't have any money left to spend. I'm going to say what I said last week, and I'm going to leave it at that. There is always money in the banana stand.
Yes. Yep.
There's always money in the banana stand.
Yeah. Listen. Yeah, we've talked about that 100 times. I don't believe that there's never not any money. There's, like you said, it's always there. Just don't make that the excuse.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, hey, they gave us a lot to talk about this week, so that's been fun. Yeah,
they did. It's been cool to get ESPN updates, and it's about your team making moves that are pretty cool. You know what I mean? Like it's not the Dodgers every time.
Yeah. I want to pull this up real quick. So I haven't looked yet, and we'll like do a deep dive on this for the season starts. But I want to get into. I'm gonna pull up FanDuel. I have not seen what the Reds' odds are for the year.
Oh, okay.
So I'm now genuinely curious. I'm sure someone will get to this faster than I will in the chat because my internet tonight is being Alta Fiber. What are you doing,
man? Alta Fiber tripping,
bro. but
They're
I still love
tripping.
them, and I'll never go back to Spectrum ever again. So
Yeah, me either.
yeah. All right, let's see. Before we get into first base chat, I want to make sure. So MLB futures, let's check it out. There's one bet I'm going to make every year the rest of my life, and well, as long as he's playing baseball, and it's Elly De La Cruz stolen base leader. It's just like,
Oh yeah, that's a no-brainer.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
So right now, the Reds World Series odds are very, very, very low at the bottom. So plus 7,000. Okay,
Oh,
you know,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
not likely, not likely.
Yeah, yeah.
They are for the National League. They are at plus 3,300. Not awful.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, and the Central, they are third at plus 450. I don't know if they're better than the Cubs or Brewers today necessarily, but I would be willing to bet that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Here's the fun one. Elly De La Cruz, National League MVP, plus 2,200. Give me that all day, every day.
Mark it down. Yeah, book it. Book it.
So, make sure we get those out. But yeah, I agree with Kerry here. Who wouldn't want to play with Tito and Tito play for Tito and play with Elly? Yeah, that's the conversation I'm going to really be thinking about for the next couple weeks, because the Reds are at that situation now where that's just like, who wouldn't want to play with Elly? Like,
yep.
If you're Pete Alonso, and look, I am speaking in all hypotheticals here. I for sure did not think Pete Alonso is going to play first base with Cincinnati Reds. I'm just, hypotheticals here. If I look at this lineup and I'm like, okay, Elly, Matt McClain, that pitching staff, that bullpen, we could win. I could probably hit 45 home runs here. Yeah, let's hang out. Like, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're thinking of it in logic, Kerry brings up a great point. Like when and I'm trying to like equivalent to something. So like when you have young stars and young studs, and you're looking at an old veteran to bring in, and the old veteran is looking at a team, the Cincinnati Reds have to be one of the teams you look at and say, gosh dang, dude, I would really like to play with those guys.
Yeah.
Like that group, that core, I mean, that's a pretty impressive core. And on top of that, like you said, you have a stud pitching rotation, you have a really good bullpen, and you've got four guys in that lineup that at any point in time could be leading the league in any other in categories hitting wise. So you look at that, like it's gotta be intriguing to some of the veterans to be able to look at that. And on top of that, Tito is your manager.
Yeah.
Now
City has it here.
The downside of that, Red's over 78. Ooh.
Easy over.
Yeah,
Easy
I think
over.
that's over.
Yeah.
But the downside of that is that, which he's proven himself to be better this offseason, but your general management and your ownership is not the strongest. But they've been better. They've been better. But I think all that stuff goes into account. I think when people are looking at coming to a team, you can look at the rosters, you can look at all that stuff, but management and GMs matter.
Yeah. Sydney, real quick before we move, I'm going to go and move on with the show, but in the chat, if you could please give us what the odds are there's over 70.5. What are we getting? Like if we bet, so give me that and I will like literally have a great conversation about this. And Debbie Brown, I appreciate you. I love that you're in the chat. I'm going to need you to say something positive at some point in the show. Okay. We're going to have to be happy here tonight. All right. The vibes are high. Everyone's feeling good. Everyone's having fun. All right. We had a crappy football year. So minus 102 for 70.5. Dude, I would put it at, okay. Josh is already
Hold
here.
on. What was the question? So it was over under 78.5 wins, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the minus 102? What's that?
That's the basically like your value.
Your value. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Dude.
Huh.
Yeah, man. So I like it. I like it. All right. Here we go. as we continue our position previews for the year, and friendly reminder, we will not be here next week because of the Super Bowl. But as we continue our preview for the year, it is first base chat time. And Ben, this one's a doozy. And I don't know if it's a doozy in a good way, but we're going to talk about it because there is a lot to go through at first base right now. Genuine questions about multiple guys. How many guys are going to play first base for the Reds in 2025? We're going to go through all of it. So I am very, very excited to kind of get to here. So big picture. What's your thoughts on first base for the Cincinnati Reds this year? Besides the fact that Pete Alonso is going to play first base for the Reds this year.
Yeah, I mean, once we get Pete Alonso, it's a done deal. I'm not even worried about it. Gosh, I don't know, man. I just want it to be.
I feel the same exact
like
way.
I don't know. Like I just want it to be consistent. How about that? Like I just want
perfect.
I want you to pick a guy and go with it. Yeah. And then let that guy be your first man. Be your first.
Look at these vibes. I am loving this. Jesse popping in.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Damn right we're going to the playoffs this year. Damn right. Pat, look, man. I'm going to go ahead and just say what for next Sunday night. If you don't want to watch the Super Bowl like me, if you have a video game that you've been looking to catch up on and play a little bit more, so go with that. I recently dived back into the Batman Arkham series, and I forgot how fun they were like 15 years ago, and I'm super fun, having a super fun again to play them again. So that's where we're going. All right. So first question about this, because I'm going off Fangraphs here and who they projected everything to go by. So their first thing is on the opening day lineup, they have Spencer Steer as the first baseman.
Okay.
Does the Austin Hayes move make Spencer Steer the top option at first base for the Reds in 2025? I say yes.
Yeah.
With the caveat that I really do think CES is going to play a lot of first base, obviously.
Yeah. I think that when they made that move, that was the idea was Spencer Steer is going to be your first baseman. So, yeah. And I think of the guys that played it last year, he was the most consistent. He's a natural infielder. He's a guy that plays the ball well. He's a guy that plays really good defense as far as
he's probably the best athlete of the group.
Yeah, he's the best athlete of the group. So I would be okay. I definitely would be okay with Spencer Steer being the number one first base guy. And to have him in that lineup every day is, of course, a benefit.
Yeah. So I know that it's been thrown out. Other people are like, don't look at his OAA, else above average.
Yeah.
I don't care about that at first base. Every other position, yeah, I will listen to the conversation.
Yeah.
I don't care at first base. I really don't. Yeah. So, if he can field a grounder and get to the bag on time.
Yeah. If you can field a grounder and scoop some balls that are thrown to the ground from time to time, I'm good. That's all I care about.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So we're in agreement. Spencer Steer, opening day first baseman. Let's go to CES here real quick. Josh, we have 3 weeks till we talk third base because we're off next week. We'll get there. Don't worry. That conversation's coming up too. CES. So obviously the big elephant in the room is that he broke his wrist, but didn't break his wrist, but did break his wrist, but didn't break his wrist, but actually at the end of the day, broke his wrist and was out for the rest of the year. Now the reason I bring up confidence level in him is that, like we've had with the Tyler Stevenson conversation last year, it took him a full season to really get back to himself.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a big difference in catching in first base. So I'm not negligent to that, but with CES, when he came up as like that first year in 23 and kind of said was really, really good. 24, obviously, even before he got injured, really struggled. I was at a game where he had grounded to 2 double plays. It was but had a walk-off homer in the same game. So I was like, all right, fine, you redeemed yourself. But with that being said, I think he could be the guy that can put them over and literally make them a World Series contender, where he could genuinely still struggle and take him a bit to get things going. So I'm putting my confidence level in CES. Josh seems to be more confident than me, and I'm 1,000% hope he's right. I'm putting it at a 6 because I'm just not quite sure. I think the strikeout thing is a little concerning, but the pop, if he's healthy, is great. I think he definitely has the upside of a 35, 40 home run guy.
Mm-hmm.
And if he can get on base, then perfect. But I just don't know if I'm 1,000% committed to CES yet. And I will say this with the caveat that when they made the Tyler Mahle trade, he was my favorite piece of the whole trade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You said 6. I say 5.
Okay.
Because I'm sitting right in the middle. I feel like he has just unbound potential. Like he's proven he can hit for power. He's proven he can hit, all places all over the field. It's just a consistency level, right? Like he's just not consistent enough. And if he could find that, if he could find that consistency, that would be great. But here's my fear: is that in order to be consistent, you have to get at bats. And I don't know how many at bats he's going to get if Steer is your everyday first baseman. So now he could DH, or Steer could play third and he would play first, or whatever the case may be. But he has to be able to get consistent at bats in order for you to be productive. I just don't know how many at bats he's going to get, especially if he doesn't start off hot, or if he doesn't have a good start to his season. That could definitely affect how many at bats he gets going forward. So I'm going to put it at a 5 just because I do think he has the potential to be really, really good, but I'm just not sure how many at bats he's going to get to be able to get to a consistent level.
Yeah, and we're saying this not that we are counting him out by any means. Like
No,
he definitely could
all.
end up being the opening day first baseman, and
Absolutely,
I'm okay with that.
could.
And
Yep.
Steer could end up being the opening day third baseman, and I think that's great. I'm fine with
Yep.
that. But for now, it looks like it's going to be spring. Like Josh said, spring training's gonna be really fascinating to see how they work all this out. All right, here's the one that's not as fun to chat about. Jeimer Candelario.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start this with the caveat again. I like that word caveat tonight, apparently, by the way.
It is, dude. That's your.
It
that's
rolls
hot
off
word.
the tongue so smooth.
It does. That's hot word of the week out here.
Yeah. So I asked the question of will Jeimer Candelario play more at first or third this year? I think he'll probably play more third, but my bold prediction is he is not on the team come July.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that. He had such a hard season last year, being such a big free agent signing for us, and not producing the way that you thought he would. And if any of those guys have a better year, and you've brought infielders in, he would be the guy that you're going to move, and you're going to be able to get a piece for him that could fill a void if you're making a playoff run. So people will take a flyer on a Jeimer Candelario if you're looking for a piece to make a push. So I would agree with you on that. I don't foresee him being on the team that much further than July for sure.
Hey, White Sox, if you're worried about money, we got a power hitting first baseman for you that you would just love. He loves Chicago. He loves Chicago.
Yep.
He's done really well in Chicago multiple times. So White Sox, hey.
Yep. Let's go. Make the move.
Yeah. Paul Yanish, my dear friend, you're part of the White Sox organization. Call Nick up. Say, hey, bro, we'll make the deal.
Yeah. Let's make it work.
Yeah. Josh says it here. If he's really good and they can move him at the deadline and make space for these other guys, awesome. If he's not really good and they can just get rid of him, awesome. I just don't see how he fits the timeline at this point. And I didn't think it was a bad signing when they signed him. I'm not trying to say poo-poo on it by any means. But I do think that at this point, if Steer and Strand are awesome and are really, really good players like we think they can be, there's just no need for them.
Yeah. So what do you do? Here's my question. Just looking at hypotheticals. If CES is terrible, what do you do? What do you do with Candelario knowing that if CES doesn't return to form?
Pray.
Good answer.
Man, I mean, you got, and there's a couple of guys we'll talk about too here in the next slide.
Yeah.
But like, you got, if you like, if Steer has another year like he had last year, then bummer. Whoa, Carrie. Hey, this is a family show. Jeez. Just kidding. But if all those options are really bad, then it's not gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Steers like struggles like he did last year. He's like right around that 750 OPS.
Yeah.
They're got a game plan. But otherwise, you know, I hope CES is awesome. I really do, and
I
I
do
think he has.
too.
I certainly think
Yeah,
he has the
I hope
possibility
he's
to do
good.
so. I just don't want to be relying on Jeimer Candelario to be like the guy at first
The
base.
guy. Yeah. Nah. Yeah, it's definitely not what I want.
Yeah.
Definitely
All right.
not
So
what I want.
last slide here, because Fangraphs did have them listed. And on your honest question, do Gavin Lux and Tyler Stevenson factor into first base at all in 2025? So Fangraphs, I think, had Lux at like 30 games and Stevenson at 7 games. I just think there's too many options that they're not going to play first base for this team.
Yeah.
And it should be that way.
No, I agree.
Lux, I could maybe see a little bit here and there, but Stevenson should not. They should throw his first baseman away. Like, just don't do it.
No, I agree.
And like the days he's not catching, just let him have the day off or DH.
Let him be off. Yep.
Lux, I get it. It gets adds that defensive versatility the Reds are really high on. But I don't know if CES and Steer are good. There's no need to.
Right. No, I agree. I don't want to see Tyler Stevenson play first at all. Like
Same.
I just don't have any interest in it. I do like Gavin Lux there because he can be a guy that can fill in there. He's played infield all over. So I don't know. I'm okay with it. I just don't want to see Tyler Stevenson do it. Gavin Lux, fine. I could do that, but Ty Steve, if he's got like you said, if he's got the day off, let him have the day off, or let him DH, or let him do something. But we got way too many options to play first base to move a guy that catches 99.8% of the time to move him to first just on a whim. Like, there's no need.
Yeah. So this is a good question by Sydney. How would you feel about Brandon Drury reunion on a non-roster invite? I would like it, honestly. Like, he was so good that half year.
Yeah.
And I thought he was pretty decent for the Angels. Was it? I don't know if I need to look at last year's numbers, but the year before that, I thought he was pretty decent. I'd be willing to take a flyer on it because, like, if it works out, that's another dude who you don't have to put as much pressure on Noelvi Marte at third base and can DH and can play first base and
a lot of
can
flexibility.
add to flexibility. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, all for it if it's a possibility.
Yeah. I would not be against that at all. It gives you a ton of flexibility. And it's really, it's a pretty good reward with very little risk if he's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey man, I think we're like 15 minutes under time. So if anyone has anything they want to throw out real quick, by all means, we'll answer it. But otherwise, vacation.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you'll be playing video games during the Super Bowl, so I will. I think I'm going to go over to a buddy's house. I don't know if I'll particularly watch. It's more for the food and enjoyment of hanging out with other people. But I don't have any interest in it, really.
So Josh says this, and we have not talked about this. What no one is asking is, what if Noelvi kills in spring training and enforces our hand? Great problem to have if he does.
Yeah.
Just I'm not counting on it.
Yeah. If he kills it in spring training and he's the guy that we saw at the end of 23, gosh, geez, like, what do you
rules?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Like that's a problem. That's a problem we want to figure out. Like, yes, give me that problem all day.
Ooh, okay. Ben. Pat's got a food question, and
okay,
this is important. He asked Tim and Ben, what do you prefer, hoagie, hero, or sub? Dude, all right. So I'm going to keep it a buck here. I am a total through and through steak hoagie guy.
Oh, dude.
Dude, bro. So I grew up in Bellevue,
Yes,
Kentucky,
indeed.
and there was a restaurant back there called Pasquale's, which if you're from the area,
Yes.
you now know it as
Yes.
Fessler's. Fessler's is now what it is now, the company. But growing up in Bellevue, lived up the road on Ward Avenue, would walk down there all the time, grab a steak hoagie with
Mhm.
my family. My dad and I would go there all the time. It's just like something I grew up loving. So I'm a steak hoagie guy, but I'm not anti subs or heroes by any means. But
Oh,
shout out
no, no, no.
Pasquale's, man. Like near and dear to my
Yes.
heart. I miss it so much. I know there's other Pasquale's, but that's just the one for me. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. The Pasquale's was really good. Um, like there's nothing like a good, just steak hoagie. When it's made right and that bun is
Mhm.
toasted and everything. Yeah, it's
Buttered
legit.
so well on the
Buttered.
inside.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's nothing like it. You got to get good mozzarella cheese that like
Mm,
it's got that. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm with you for sure.
yeah. We had like a night recently where like we were just sitting here and I was like, man, like I really want a hoagie. And we
Hmm.
got some from Snappy.
Oh
And
yeah.
like a lot of people don't like Snappy tomato. I really
Nah,
like it. I don't know if I've just had bad taste buds or something, but I dig it. I really like
no,
it.
it's not.
So
It's not bad.
it
Yeah,
hit
it's not
right that
being
night.
bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll hit. Yeah, it's
I've
all
had
right.
worse pizza for sure than
Oh
Snappy
yeah,
tomato
yeah,
pizza.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no. It'll hit. It'll hit.
Yeah. Favorite Cincinnati-based beer or brewery? So I will be honest on this too. I have like cut back my beer drinking a lot.
Yeah.
Become more of a bourbon guy in my older age. But I always loved Ryan Geist facility. I had my birthday there one year.
Yes, it
Um,
was awesome.
yeah, it's a really fun facility, but I do think I lean Braxton's beers,
Yep.
and I have a lot of great memories at Braxton too. I had my wedding reception there. I worked for the owners at the baseball card shop. I worked there for a short time, so I
Hmm.
got a lot of love for Braxton Brewery. The Summer Trip beer was like my favorite for a very long time. So again, I don't drink much beer at all anymore. Like if I go out and
Yeah.
eat some wings and watch a game, maybe. But like if I have to pick one, I'll probably go Braxton.
Same.
Yeah,
Same. Yeah. I'm with you on that
this
one.
is like okay. So maybe this is the wrong time to ask this because we talked about to start the show.
Hmm.
UDF or Graders?
Oh, graders.
Okay, me too.
Yeah,
Me
yeah,
too.
yeah. Yeah, graders. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, but I'm gonna bring up Bellevue again,
yeah.
and these people should just pay us for pub right now. Across from Fessler's is a fantastic sweet shop that I've been going to my whole life as well, called Schneider's Sweet Shop.
Schneider's, man. Absolutely. Get the ice
Homemade ice
ball.
cream.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. So they do an ice ball for those who don't know, like the classic like Kona ice thing, but they put a scoop of ice cream in the middle of it,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's the best. It's like
Yes,
dude,
indeed.
like so, and their chocolates, everything's so good.
Yeah.
So
Now see, we were Newport people, and we would do Sweet Tooth. Now, Sweet
yeah,
Tooth was the same thing as Schneider's, and it had the ice
mhm,
balls and ice cream and fudge and all that stuff. Yeah, so we would do a little of both. But yeah, incredible, absolutely
yeah,
incredible.
yeah. You guys are speaking to my heart here, man. Talking like all this stuff. I love it. I love it. Even though I haven't lived in Bellevue for like 30 years, it's still like just near and dear to my heart. It means so much to
Yeah,
me.
yep,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Carrie, on 10th Street, Sweet Tooth. I used to
yep,
work at the US Bank there on Monmouth Street. So I had to drive
yep.
I had to drive past it every morning.
Oh, it
Um,
was beautiful.
so beautiful.
From
All right, guys. Well, I think
from
before we
time to
get too
time, I'll
much,
take the kids down there and we'll do it. We'll do a little Sweet Tooth run.
oh man, I need to do that. I gotta take Iris.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she'll love it.
Dude, we did like yesterday, we were a little early for our tumbling class. And McDonald's has Krispy Kreme donuts now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Dude, we just sat in my car, like got out of the car seat, sat in the front seat, we just split a donut and just like
Enjoyed
memories,
life.
man. Just memories, man. It was so cool. I had so much fun.
Absolutely.
All right, folks. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Everyone, thank you so much for, as always, a lively chat, contributing to the conversation, asking us food questions. I mean, this is fun. Like this is what like Ben and I get so excited to do this show every week for stuff like this.
Yep.
Once
Absolutely.
again, Super Bowl Sunday next week, so we won't be here. But in 2 weeks, so that would be what, the 16th, we'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we'll pick up second base. Hopefully the Reds have made a big move by then. Now, if anything crazy happens, we may not be
We
back
will
on
pop
Sunday, but we
Yeah.
will do a show. So we'll be
Yeah.
around. But this is fun. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And thanks for being patient through all the technical issues. We definitely appreciate that as well. But we're going to go and wrap this up. On behalf of Ben Brown, this is Tim Daniel. Everyone have a good night. Check out everything going on in the riverfront. Seth has quite the guest coming in on Red Leg Roundtable that you won't want to miss. Take it easy, everybody.
See you guys.